Most people live their lives asleep, not because their eyes are closed, but because their potential is. We wake up every morning, yet we don't truly awaken to who we are. God has given each of us unlimited strength, hidden talents, and a divine purpose. The question is not whether you have potential, the question is, will you wake up to it? My dear friends, every sunrise is not just another day. It is a reminder from God that He still believes in you. He is giving you one more chance to grow, to shine, to fulfill the purpose for which you were created. Sadly, many of us underestimate ourselves, compare ourselves with others, and forget the greatness planted within us. But today, I want to remind you, your life is not an accident. You are designed with power, with wisdom, and with potential that can transform not only your life, but the lives of those around you. If you choose to rise above doubts, laziness, and fear, you will step into the extraordinary life that God has placed within you. My friends, the greatest tragedy in life is not death. The greatest tragedy is when a human being lives his whole life without ever realizing who he truly is, without ever recognizing the spark of divinity that lies within him. Imagine a diamond covered in mud. On the surface, it may look dull, ordinary, and even worthless. But once the dirt is washed away, its brilliance dazzles every eye. Similarly, within each of us, God has placed something priceless. Unfortunately, we often cover it with layers of self-doubt, fear, and comparison, and then we begin to believe we are ordinary. Let me ask you a simple question. When you look into the mirror in the morning, do you see just a body? Or do you see a soul gifted with a divine purpose? Most of us, sadly, only see the surface. We see our height, our weight, our hair, our face, but we rarely see beyond. And when we fail to see beyond, we start believing in limitations. But the truth is, you are far greater than what the mirror shows. What you see outside is temporary, but what you carry inside is eternal. That is your divine spark. Think about a child. A child does not yet know fear, doubt, or failure. When a baby learns to walk, he falls 100 times but never says, "I will never walk again." Why? Because the spark inside him knows walking is his natural potential. Similarly, each of us is born with the natural potential to succeed, to grow, to love, to serve. But as we grow older, society begins to cover us with mud. You are not good enough. You are not smart enough. You are not beautiful enough. These voices drown out the inner voice of the soul. And when we start believing those voices, we forget the power that God has already placed within us. Let me share with you a simple story from daily life. Imagine a man who buys a brand new smartphone. This phone has every feature: the best camera, the fastest processor, unlimited apps. But instead of using all its features, he only uses it to make calls. He never bothers to explore the camera, the apps, the speed. He carries in his hand a powerful tool, but he lives like he has an ordinary phone. Isn't that how most of us live? God has gifted us with intelligence, creativity, compassion, courage, but we only use a tiny fraction of it. We live as if we are basic models, forgetting we are designed with infinite potential. Now let me give you another example, one that may feel very personal. Think about times when you surprised yourself. Perhaps you faced a difficult exam and thought you would fail, but somehow you passed with flying colors. Perhaps you went through heartbreak, illness, or financial loss and thought you could not survive, but today, here you are, stronger than ever. How did you survive? How did you rise? It was not by chance. It was the divine spark within you that carried you forward when your mind and body wanted to give up. This spark is always present. But the question is, do you recognize it? Because recognition changes everything. If you recognize yourself as weak, you will live weak. If you recognize yourself as ordinary, you will live ordinary. But if you recognize that you are a creation of God, carrying His power and purpose within you, you will never live small again. Recognition leads to transformation. Let me put it in another way. Imagine a lion who grew up among sheep. Every day he moved with the flock, ate grass, and bleated like a sheep. He believed he was weak, just like them. But one day, he saw his reflection in a river. For the first time, he realized he was not a sheep, he was a lion. From that moment, his life changed. Did his strength suddenly appear that day? No, he always had it. But the recognition gave him courage to live it. My friends, you are that lion. You have been conditioned by society to live like sheep, but within you is the roar of greatness waiting to be unleashed. Recognizing the divine spark within you means understanding that God has placed in you a part of His power, His intelligence, and His love. This spark is not for some chosen few. It is for every human being. Whether you are rich or poor, educated or uneducated, young or old, the spark exists equally within you. What makes the difference is awareness. If you choose to see yourself as weak, you bury the spark. But if you choose to see yourself as divine, you nurture it, and it lights up your life. So, how do we start recognizing it? Begin by listening to your inner voice instead of the noise of the world. Every morning when you wake up, instead of picking up your phone, sit quietly and remind yourself, I am a soul with unlimited potential. God has given me strength. I am capable. I am valuable. I am not ordinary. When you speak to yourself with truth, you slowly wash away the mud covering your diamond. And when you begin to live with that recognition, everything changes. Challenges no longer break you, they shape you. Failures no longer destroy you, they teach you. Criticism no longer hurts you, it guides you. Because you know who you truly are. You are not defined by others. You are defined by the divine spark within you. So my dear friends, never again say, I am nothing. Never again say, I am weak. Those are lies. The truth is, you are a masterpiece of God. The spark is already within you. All you have to do is wake up to it. And the day you do, the world will never see you the same way again, because you will finally shine with the brilliance you were born to radiate. My friends, everyone dreams of success. Everyone desires to rise, to achieve, to shine. But desire without discipline is like a vehicle without fuel. It may look beautiful, but it cannot move forward. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without it, the greatest potential remains locked inside. With it, even ordinary individuals rise to extraordinary heights. Think for a moment about the most successful people you admire. It could be a leader, a thinker, an artist, or an athlete. What is the common thread in all their lives? It is not luck, it is not wealth, it is not even talent. The common thread is discipline. Talent may open doors, but only discipline keeps those doors open. Let me give you a very simple example from daily life. Imagine two students preparing for an exam. Both have equal intelligence. One studies every day, even when he doesn't feel like it. He makes a timetable, follows it, and revises consistently. The other studies only when he is in the mood, postponing tasks and waiting for inspiration. On exam day, the disciplined student enters the hall with confidence, while the other enters with fear. Who will perform better? Obviously, the one who had discipline. Not because he was smarter, but because he respected consistency. In life, it is not the one who does the most in a single day who succeeds, but the one who does something small every day. Drops of water falling continuously, carve the strongest rocks. Discipline is that water. But why do we struggle so much with discipline? Because our mind seeks comfort. The mind says, sleep a little more, eat a little extra, postpone till tomorrow, and every time we listen, we weaken our potential. But when we choose discipline over comfort, we gain strength. It is like exercising a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes. Let me share a powerful example. Think of an athlete training for the Olympics. He wakes up before sunrise, runs when others are asleep, practices when others are partying, and sacrifices comfort for commitment. Why? Because he knows the gold medal will not be given to him for free. Discipline is the price of greatness. If he waits for motivation to come every day, he will never win. He relies not on motivation but on discipline. And the result, victory. Now look at our own daily lives. How many of us say, I want to wake up early, but the bed pulls us back? How many say, I want to eat healthy, but junk food tempts us? How many say, I want to read, learn, or grow, but the phone distracts us? This is the difference between wish and will. A wish is weak. Discipline makes it strong. Think about a farmer. If he plants seeds but waters them only once in a while, will crops grow? No. But if he waters them daily, even a small seed becomes a tree. Similarly, your potential is a seed. Discipline is the water. Without daily nourishment, it cannot grow. One of the greatest secrets of discipline is that it may feel painful in the beginning, but it feels powerful in the end. When you first wake up early, it feels uncomfortable. When you first exercise, it feels tiring. When you first start studying or practicing a skill, it feels boring. But with time, you begin to enjoy the fruits of your effort. Health improves, knowledge expands, confidence grows. Temporary discomfort creates permanent strength. Let me give you an example you may relate to. Imagine you decide to learn playing an instrument, say the guitar. In the first week, your fingers hurt, your sound is off, and you feel like giving up. But if you keep practicing daily, little by little, the pain goes away, the sound becomes music, and one day, people applaud when you play. What made the difference? Discipline. Without it, the guitar would remain a burden. With it, the guitar becomes an extension of your soul. My friends, God has gifted each of us with potential, but God has also given us free will. He does not hand success into our laps. He gives us opportunities and expects us to put in effort. Discipline is a form of respect to the gifts God has placed within us. When you practice discipline, you are telling yourself, I honor the abilities God has given me. I will not waste them. Let us also not confuse discipline with rigidity. Discipline is not about punishing yourself or living without joy. It is about balance. Eating healthy does not mean never enjoying food. It means enjoying without excess. Working hard does not mean never resting. It means resting after work, not before. Discipline gives you freedom. A disciplined body is free from disease. A disciplined mind is free from confusion. A disciplined life is free from regret. Think of a river. Water flowing without direction floods fields and destroys. But water flowing with discipline through channels generates electricity, irrigates crops, and gives life. Similarly, energy without discipline becomes destructive, but energy with discipline becomes creative. So, my dear friends, remember this truth. Discipline is the master key to unlock your full potential. Without it, talent dies unused, dreams fade, and opportunities are wasted. With it, even small talents become greatness, and even the weakest become strong. When you wake up tomorrow morning and your bed says, stay a little longer, tell yourself, no, today I choose discipline. When your mind says, eat more than you need. Tell yourself, no, today I choose balance. When your phone says, scroll endlessly, tell yourself, no, today I choose growth. Every such decision, though small, is a brick in the foundation of your future. Discipline is not built in a day, it is built daily. And every act of discipline brings you closer to the extraordinary life that God intended for you. Choose it, practice it, and one day you will look back and thank yourself for not listening to excuses, but for listening to the call of your highest potential. My friends, every human being has within them the ability to rise higher, achieve greatness, and live a meaningful life. But the one thing that stops most people is not a lack of intelligence, not a lack of resources, and not even a lack of opportunity. What stops us is excuses. Excuses are the chains that tie us down. They sound convincing, they sound comfortable, but in reality, they are silent killers of potential. Think about this. How many times have you heard yourself say, I will start tomorrow, or I don't have enough time, or I can't do it because I don't have the resources others have. Every one of us has said these things at some point. But do you realize what happens when we keep repeating them? We begin to believe them. Excuses slowly become part of our identity, and once they do, we stop even trying. Imagine a person who wants to get fit. He says, I will start exercising when I have more free time. Weeks pass, months pass, years pass, and his health declines. The excuse gave him comfort in the moment, but pain in the long run. Now imagine another person who says, I may not have an hour every day, but I have 10 minutes. I will start with that. That person grows stronger over time. The difference is not in ability, but in the choice between excuses and action. Excuses are attractive because they relieve us from responsibility. They allow us to stay in our comfort zones. The comfort zone is that cozy place where nothing challenges us, nothing stretches us, nothing forces us to grow. It is like a soft bed. You feel good staying in it, but if you stay too long, it ruins your body. Similarly, if you stay in the comfort zone too long, it ruins your spirit. Let me share a small but powerful story. There was once a man who wanted to learn swimming. But every time he went to the pool, he dipped only his toes in the water and said, the water is too cold today, I'll come tomorrow. Days became weeks, weeks became months, and he never learned. Finally, one day, a friend pushed him into the pool. He struggled for a few moments, but then discovered he could actually float. That day, he realized he had wasted so much time making excuses about the water, when all along, the only thing stopping him was fear. Isn't that the same with us? We wait for the perfect conditions, perfect time, perfect place, perfect opportunity, but in doing so, we waste the present. Let's look at a simple example from our daily lives. Think of waking up early in the morning. You set an alarm, but when it rings, your mind says, just 5 more minutes. Those 5 minutes turn into 30, and suddenly you are rushing to work, stressed and late. The excuse felt sweet in the moment, but it stole your peace later. Now imagine you ignored the excuse, wake up when the alarm rings, and spend time in silence, gratitude, or exercise. That choice sets the tone for your whole day. One decision to resist excuses and comfort creates a completely different life experience. Excuses also come in the form of comparison. How many times have we said, if I had what they have, I would also succeed? This is another trap. The truth is, every person has limitations. Every person faces challenges. The difference is that some people use challenges as excuses, while others use them as fuel. The ones who grow are not those with the easiest conditions, but those who refuse to let their conditions define them. Take the example of a seed. If it says, "The soil is too hard, I cannot grow here," it will remain buried forever. But if it pushes through, breaks the soil, and reaches for the sun, it becomes a tree. In the same way, we must stop telling ourselves why we can't and start focusing on how we can. Let me give you another powerful image. Imagine a bird sitting on a tree branch. The bird is not afraid of the branch breaking because it does not depend on the branch. It trusts its wings. But many of us put our trust in external things, our job, our environment, our conditions. And when those branches shake, we panic. Instead, if we trust our inner wings, our strength, our courage, our potential, no excuse or comfort zone can stop us. Detaching from excuses is not just about pushing harder, it is about changing perspective. The next time your mind says, "It's too hard," reframe it and say, "It's hard, but that's how I grow." The next time your mind says, "I don't have time," tell yourself, "I will make time for what matters." The next time you say, "I'm not ready," remind yourself, no one ever feels fully ready. Growth happens on the journey. Comfort zones are sweet prisons. They feel safe but keep you trapped. The moment you step out, you may feel fear, but you also feel alive. Think of when you tried something new for the first time. Whether it was speaking on stage, learning a skill, or meeting new people. You were nervous, but afterward, you felt stronger. That is the reward of leaving comfort zones: growth, confidence, and expansion. My friends, life is too short to let excuses steal your destiny. The people who succeed are not the ones who never feel fear, not the ones who always have perfect conditions. They are the ones who choose courage over excuses, growth over comfort, and responsibility over blame. So the next time you catch yourself making an excuse, pause and ask, is this the truth, or is this just fear dressed as reason? Most of the time, it is fear. And the best way to defeat fear is to act in spite of it. Step forward even if it is small, move even if it feels uncomfortable. Over time, discomfort becomes strength and fear becomes fuel. Remember this always: excuses will give you temporary relief, but discipline and courage will give you lasting growth. Comfort zones will give you short-term ease, but stepping out will give you lifelong strength. You were not created to live small, limited, and fearful. You were created to expand, to rise, and to discover your highest potential. And that is only possible when you detach from excuses and step boldly beyond comfort. My friends, one of the greatest obstacles to growth is the illusion of perfection. Many people never begin their journey because they are waiting for everything to be perfect. The perfect timing, the perfect skill, the perfect opportunity. But life was never designed to be perfect. Life was designed for progress. And progress, no matter how small, is the true measure of success. Think about a child learning to walk. The child falls again and again. Sometimes the fall is hard, sometimes it is painful. But does the child stop? No, the child never says, "I will wait until I can walk perfectly before I start trying." Instead, the child celebrates each small step. That is progress. If the child waited for perfection, he would never walk. The same is true for us. We often say, "I'll start when I'm ready," but the truth is, no one ever feels fully ready. Readiness comes through doing. If you wait until you are perfect, you will wait your whole life. Progress requires courage, not perfection. Let me give you a very simple example from daily life. Suppose you want to get healthy. You decide to start exercising. But on the first day, you cannot run for an hour. You cannot lift heavy weights. You cannot bend with perfect form. So, what do most people do? They give up thinking, I'm not good at this. But the secret is no one starts good. The fittest athlete you see today was once a beginner who struggled. The difference is he chose progress over perfection. He said, I will run for 5 minutes today and 6 tomorrow. I will lift a little more next week. I will improve step by step. And over time, progress transformed him. Perfection is a trap because it paralyzes you. It whispers in your ear, don't try until you can do it perfectly. And the more you listen, the more you delay. Progress, on the other hand, says, start small, but start now. Every drop adds to the ocean. Every brick builds the house. Every step, however small, takes you closer to your destination. Think of a sculptor creating a statue from a block of stone. On the first day, the statue does not look perfect. It looks rough, unfinished, unattractive. But the sculptor does not quit. Each day he chips a little more, refines a little more, and step by step the masterpiece emerges. The beauty lies in the process, not the first attempt. Similarly, your life is your sculpture. You don't need to shape it perfectly in one day. You just need to work on it daily with patience and persistence. Now let me give you another example. Imagine you want to learn a new language. On the first day, you can hardly speak a few words. You make mistakes, you mispronounce, you feel embarrassed. But if you keep practicing daily, little by little, your vocabulary grows, your confidence grows, and one day you find yourself speaking fluently. If you had waited for perfection before trying, you would never have started. But by focusing on progress, you achieve mastery. My friends, remember this: progress builds confidence, while perfection builds fear. Perfection says, what if I fail? Progress says, even if I fail, I will be better than yesterday. Perfection is heavy, it weighs you down with expectations. Progress is light, it carries you forward with hope. Sometimes we look at others and say, they are perfect, I can never be like them. But what we don't see is their journey. Behind every success you admire are years of small steps, countless failures, and constant progress. Nobody became great overnight. Greatness is the reward of steady progress. Let's take the example of a student preparing for exams. If he aims to learn everything perfectly in one day, he will feel overwhelmed and give up. But if he learns one chapter a day, by the end of the month, he masters the whole subject. That is the power of progress. Small efforts compounded daily lead to big results. Even in our spiritual growth, the same truth applies. No one becomes peaceful, wise, or deeply connected to God in a single day. It is a journey. Each day you take one step closer through prayer, meditation, gratitude, or self-reflection. Some days you may falter, some days you may feel distracted, but that's okay. What matters is that you keep moving. God does not expect perfection from you. He expects sincerity, effort, and progress. Think of a tree. When it begins as a seed, it is tiny and fragile. No one looks at the seed and says, "Why are you not a tree already?" Growth takes time. Every day the seed stretches a little. Roots grow deeper, branches spread wider, until one day it becomes a strong tree offering shade and fruit. Life is no different. You don't need to be perfect today. You just need to grow a little every day. So how do we practice this in daily life? Instead of asking, "Am I perfect yet?" ask, "Am I better than I was yesterday?" Instead of waiting for the perfect conditions, begin with what you have. If you can't exercise for an hour, start with 10 minutes. If you can't read a whole book, read one page. If you can't pray for an hour, pray for 5 minutes with sincerity. The small steps may seem insignificant, but over time they create transformation. Perfection focuses on results. Progress focuses on effort. And effort is always in your control. You may not control the outcome, but you can control your actions today. And when you act daily, results follow naturally. My friends, do not let perfection steal your dreams. Do not let the fear of mistakes stop you from beginning. Progress is messy, but it is beautiful. Progress is slow, but it is steady. And progress, over time, creates miracles. So the next time you feel discouraged, remember the child learning to walk, the sculptor shaping the stone, the tree growing from a seed. They do not seek perfection, they seek growth. And if you live with that mindset, you will not only wake up to your potential, you will keep rising, step by step, into the extraordinary life you were created for. My friends, one of the greatest truths of life is that we become like the company we keep. Just as the fragrance of a flower lingers on the hand that touches it, the energy of people around us leaves an imprint on our minds and hearts. Whether we rise or fall, whether we shine or fade, often depends on who we choose to walk with. Surrounding yourself with uplifting energy is not a luxury, it is a necessity for anyone who wants to live at their full potential. Think about this when you sit beside a fire, even if you do not touch the flames, the warmth reaches you. And when you sit beside ice, even if you do not touch it, the cold seeps into your bones. People are like that too. Some radiate warmth, courage, inspiration, and positivity. Others radiate negativity, complaints, gossip, and doubt. If you sit too long with fire, you will feel alive. If you sit too long with ice, you will freeze your spirit. Let me give you a simple example from daily life. Imagine two students preparing for the same exam. One is surrounded by friends who say, "This is too hard, we can't do it, let's give up." The other is surrounded by friends who say, "It's difficult, but we can try, let's work together." Which student will have more courage to continue? Not because the exam is easier for one and harder for the other, but because the energy around them fuels their mindset. Your environment can either drain you or drive you. In the same way, think of a workplace. If you are surrounded by colleagues who constantly complain, criticize, and discourage, your enthusiasm slowly dies. But if you are surrounded by colleagues who encourage, support, and share solutions, even difficult tasks feel lighter. The workload is the same, but the energy is different. That is the power of association. There is an old saying, "Show me your friends, and I will show you your future." It may sound simple, but it is profoundly true. If you spend time with people who gossip, you will find yourself gossiping. If you spend time with people who are lazy, you will find yourself delaying your goals. But if you spend time with people who are disciplined, focused, and grateful, their habits rub off on you, and you begin to grow without even realizing it. Let me share with you a story. A farmer once had an eagle's egg that accidentally fell into a chicken's nest. The egg hatched, and the eagle grew up among chickens. It pecked the ground, clucked like a chicken, and never attempted to fly. One day, another eagle flew above, soaring in the sky. The eagle among chickens looked up in wonder and said, "How I wish I could fly like that." The chickens laughed and said, "Don't be foolish. You are one of us. Stay here." And so the eagle lived and died as a chicken, never realizing it was born to soar. This is exactly what happens when you surround yourself with people who limit you. They may not intend harm, but their vision is small, and if you listen, they will convince you to shrink too. But when you surround yourself with uplifting people, they remind you of your wings. They say, "You can fly, you can rise, you can do more." And slowly, you begin to believe it and you take off. Look at your daily life. Who are you spending the most time with? Are they people who lift your energy or people who drain it? When you finish talking to them, do you feel inspired or exhausted? Do they encourage you to become your best self, or do they pull you into negativity? This is not about judging others.